When we are in love, we don't think about the things that we might face when we get married. It is better to look at these things before you get married rather than wait until the misunderstanding sets in. You know what they say about an ounce of prevention? It is always better than cure. I have with me AMOS KEVIN-ANNAN, a counselor, and we are here to discuss premarital counseling and its relevance. You're welcome to A Walk Down the Aisle. My name is Mami Dufie. Hello, sir.
Hi.
Welcome
Mami.
to A Walk Down the Aisle.
Thank you very much.
Today we are discussing premarital counseling and its relevance. First of all, what is marriage?
Well,
The institution of marriage.
the institution of marriage is a divine one that people who are of a certain stage in life, and sometimes it has to do with the age also in life, deciding to go into a union where they spend their life together forever until death do them part. So essentially marriage has to do with the union of two persons that is entered into fully by these individuals who know they are matured enough. There are social definitions, there are religious definitions, but narrowing it down to all the aspects, this would be simplistically the definition of marriage. Now, the source of marriage becomes important for individuals. Others see it as purely a social contract. Others see it as some temporal space you enter to see if things can work out for you. Others see it as a divine institution, and those are the folks who are religious. The non-religious do not see it as such.
Right. Okay, so is it necessary?
Marriage?
Yes.
Definitely. I mean, marriage holds the society together, and you cannot have homes being strong if you don't have strong marriages. And where it is that you discover that you're having issues societal-wise, you have to go back and review the various marriages or marriage models that do exist. And it is said that as marriages go, so do parenting go. And as parenting go, so do societal norms and values also flesh out. So there's a need for everybody to pay attention to marriage, and you cannot take it for granted, and you cannot undermine the institution of marriage because it holds the very fabric of our communities.
Okay, all right. So what is premarital counseling?
Well, essentially, if you're talking about premarital counseling, then pre simply connotes before.
Before, yeah.
So it's before marriage, and before people get into the situation where they tie the knot, as you're talking about walking down the aisle, before they venture to go into the direction, there's a need for them to get some guidance, some coaching, some support, some doubts clarified, some expectations managed. So essentially, pre-marriage counseling is an intervention which is either psychological, sociological, or sometimes even physical, relational-wise. So then you provide these people an opportunity for them to really engage with a reflection of the decisions they're about to take before they thrust themselves into it.
Okay, so it is really important.
It is important. In fact, if you review the articles and journals that are available, you'll discover that people who are provided with pre-nuptial or premarital counseling stand a better chance of dealing with their differences, understanding how to manage conflict, personality differences, how to manage finances, issues of sexual engagement, and the disequilibrium that often exists between spouses. Most of those interventions are done prior to marriage. So when you enter into marriage, it's almost like you've been given some fresh ease of air that makes you live your life not too comfortable, but at least you can predict certain things.
Okay. We are here at the Queen's Court Event Center with AMOS KEVIN-ANNAN, a counselor, and we are discussing premarital counseling and its relevance. Remember to send your pictures and videos to awalkdowntheaislegh@gmail.com. We will be right back.
Eunice is a friend and more of a sister because she's a friend for 18 years. And we thank God for this new beginning, and it's my prayer that and be as cheerful as herself. Just be a good wife and have a blissful marriage.
You all can see today is a special day. My very good friend, big homie, is getting married to one of the most beautiful women in the whole world. God has shown his favor upon us. It's raining. So as you can see, it's going to be a fantabulous wedding.
Yeah, she's a lovely person, and today happens to be, her happiest day.
I want to wish her all the best in life. May they have a fruitful marriage with lots of children.
And that's why they now I can't over. Yes, I was saying, and then I just hope. Yenim say she ran the way she go. Ye do be there no more division. Men of honest, obi biara couple. Oh, Messiah Casa, and everything. Mawanu Nyamon shred, or to me, dear Biara, but man who swore everywhere right. Papa Brown in answer. Now we could tell you and your cousin. Yeah, that was it. I don't need to. Amen.
Tell you how I feel, come closer. Can you feel my heartbeat? Oh baby, let me put my hand in yours, come closer. Can you feel my heartbeat? And as long as this beat is playing in my heart, there's nothing I wouldn't do to make you love me.
Baby fresh on the beach, be killing them all. My darling, what's up?
Baby, you're too much of you. My love you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to
Without my baby today. Oh, baby, I love you. I would do anything for you.
the very sophisticated, the lady right.
Welcome back. We are discussing premarital counseling and its relevance with Amos Kevin-Annan, a counselor. Sir, is premarital counseling a Christian thing? Is it based on biblical principles?
Well, traditionally, before anybody went into marriage, they were counseled, literally. I mean, that's what our forebears did. You would be schooled about what marriage is, the preparations, the requirements, the intensity required within marriage to sustain it. So traditionally it was done. I'm also aware that other religious institutions have some preparations leading up to people tying the knot. So it will not be fair to say that it's exclusively a Christian thing. In fact, if you look into the scriptures, you don't find what is structured today as pre-marriage counseling. You don't have that. It's more of what I would call post-New Testament development. And so you read the Old Testament, the New Testament, and activities thereafter. That's why we're having this issue. And it's as a result of an intervention model that is introduced to help people size themselves up well and then minimize unrealistic expectations they may have so that they don't go into a union with a high-flying kite that cannot be met by their spouse. So it cannot be exclusively Christian.
Okay. So is there a particular age that people should reach before they think of marriage?
Well, I mean, when it comes to marriage preparations, it's more to do with maturity and a sense of responsibility. There are people who may be 35 and ill-prepared for life. And I've seen 22-year-old folks getting married. Because they are prepared. Some have good start, others have late start. Others have silver spoon in their mouth because of the parental advantages that they got. So you cannot tie people down and say you have to be this age before you marry. People would have to look at their capacity to take decisions and own up to responsibilities. And you should not do that because you're under duress. You should do it because you're fully responsible for the decision that you're taking. Otherwise, then you do it to appease someone.
Which is wrong.
Which is not the way to go.
Okay. So how long should you court or date before you marry?
You know, ordinarily, if you're talking about a date, for instance, a date is not a relationship.
Okay.
Too many folks miss a very vital stage of the whole journey called friendship. And they substitute that with relationship. I, last year, dated 20 single ladies, but I'm not in a relationship with them.
Okay.
A date basically is an appointment. An appointment to get to know someone, familiarize yourself with the person, and to hear their story, and to see if it gels with yours.
That is a date.
That's a date, basically. It's an appointment. It's got nothing to do with a relationship. Unfortunately, for those who have seen it as a relationship, then we have to help them because they have already said we are dating, and as we are dating, it's exclusive. Okay? But what should actually be exclusive is courtship, not dating. Anyone who is courting is one step away from marriage. But those who are dating, it's a fluid situation. It's almost like an amoeba. You put it in any container, it takes the shape of it. So they are free to go anywhere. But unfortunately, we're doing exclusive datings. And so no other person can come in between the two parties. And touch wood, if anybody came in, that would be fatality. Yeah, so that's where we're having a challenge. But otherwise, when it comes to the dates that I see right now, the longer it stays, the terrible it stings. So you don't want it to linger on too long because you keep people in suspense. Anxiety levels are higher. People's expectations almost unmet. So you don't want to let it linger too long. If you're determined and decided, just go for it and do what it is that must be done so that you wash your hands of the uncertainties and the expectations that come.
So you mentioned that relationship is different from dating.
Exact. Friendship.
Friendship. Okay, so dating is friendship.
You see, what you should have is develop friendship. Ordinarily, that's where it starts. So you have, let's say, this setting. Assuming it's an office, we have 20 ladies and, say, 10 gentlemen. A gentleman can be friendly with about, say, 5 of them. His intention is not to say, starting off with, I'm going to marry you, which is what we see right now. The guy sees you, beautiful lady, long hair, vital statistics intact. Then he says, I want to marry you.
He's in love.
He's in love with you. And because now we get attracted to people and want to marry them. We want a relationship. So you skip that friendship, which is innocent, which is non-structured, which is informal. You develop it and grow it naturally. But here you are, he meets the person and they start a relationship, and everybody knows that these two folks are in a relationship. And it's exclusive. And the question is this, what if one changes their mind? That's where you have a lot of breakups happening all over. I've had to sit mediating with breakups, and it's a very discomforting thing to see. Some claim they are dating 3 years. You can't date for 3 years.
That's too long.
Too long.
Okay. We are still discussing premarital counseling with Amos, Kevin, and Annan. Don't change the channel. We'll be right back.
It's a beautiful night. We're looking for something dumb to do. Hey, baby, I think I wanna marry you. Is it the look in your eyes, or is it this dancing juice? Who cares, baby? I think I wanna marry you. Well, I know this little chapel on the boulevard we can go. No one will know. Oh, come on, girl. Don't say no, 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 no. Just say yeah, 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 yeah. And we'll go, 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 go. If you're ready, like I'm ready. 'Cause it's a beautiful night. We're looking for something dumb to do. Hey, baby, I think I wanna marry you. Forever and ever, forever and ever, ever, ever. Forever and ever, forever and ever, ever, ever. I'm here for you I'll be a fool. You're my heart desire, you're my life wire. Your love is true, you got me feeling so blue. Your tender tickle tells me we'll see your wrinkles. Me chinchini, 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 mananti, mananti, mananti. Still, we're number one. Me love yeah, Miss Mobo Tamoshe. Ah, ah, ah. Forever and ever, forever and ever, ever, ever. I'll be yours. Forever and ever, forever and ever, ever, ever. I'll be yours. Yes, I want you in my life. You damn right I could be your wife. I feel like Superwoman, now you go be my Spider-Man. Jealousy, go share, we still go remain. My only baba, I be your only mama. Me chinchini, 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 mananti, mananti, mananti. Still, we're number one. Me love yeah, Miss Mobo Tamoshi. Ah, ah, ah. Forever and ever, forever and ever, ever, ever. I don't know what it is. Forever and ever, forever and ever, ever, ever. I don't know what it is.
Welcome back. You can follow us on Instagram at A Walk Down the Aisle and on Facebook at A Walk Down the Aisle GH. We are still discussing premarital counseling with Amos, Kevin, Annan. So, premarital counseling, is it necessary? Looking at the fact that now you can always just get on the internet and read something. People think that they can get all the information they need on the internet. Do you think it is still necessary?
Well, to the extent that you understand what you're reading.
Okay.
Because you see, what we should not lose sight of is that the fact that I have access to a lot of information does not necessarily translate into understanding. And to the extent that premarital counseling intervenes to provide one guidance, coaching, support, to be clear in their minds about the weight of the decision they are taking, you are better off if you're engaging with somebody who is a neutral arbiter, who has no bias or leaning towards any party, because it's also a process of discovery. When you have love for someone, it's a different thing when you settle in marriage. Because love before marriage is oftentimes spontaneous. You do a lot of things on impulse, a lot of things suddenly. They thrust upon you. But when you marry, every love expression must be intentional. Otherwise, you never do it.
Okay.
And so it is always said that love before marriage and love after the union is consummated, they would always be different. And so the preparation support is needed for you if you get it from the right source. Of course, I mean, I have to underscore that.
Okay. So what would you say about courtship?
Yes, like I said earlier, courtship has got more to do with people who are now settled and they start making preparations, start buying stuff, talking to those who are going to be in charge of an event. Those are the people who say that we now are sure we can live together ever after. Okay? And so they are in a state of courtship. It's like the lion. It is said that the lion, when the lion sees a lioness, what it does is that if that is its partner, usually it would urinate around it as a circle, and that's a court. And that wards up any intruders that will come into that domain. So the sense of courtship is this, that we have caged ourselves and we have no options now. We're just one option, which is towards the aisle. Okay, so that means they need to do the preparations. And that's different from those who are dating. As for dating, you can terminate at any point. But when courtship terminates, it's usually a very harrowing termination.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so what would you advise any young couple or people who are planning to walk down the aisle?
Well, there's a need for you. Anybody who is thinking of a wedding, remember marriage. It is so important. Too many young men and women these days prepare for a wedding and not for marriage.
That's true.
Because a wedding is a ceremony. Unfortunately, the ceremony is supposed to be solemnization. Now it's pomp and pageantry. Now it's a celebration. It's a lot of fanfare. And so the weight of the decision to marry evades many of the people who are going to be would-be couples. Now, the second thing is this, that it breaks my heart to see many young men and women rehearsing their divorce even before they marry.
How do they do that?
They cutting their own noses to spite their face. They start a rendezvous of infidelity, cheating and unfaithfulness, disloyalty, mistrust, suspicion, diabolic inklings. All those things then go into a very complex bundle. Now, when you start doing that, marriage, what it does is it multiplies, it amplifies, sometimes exponentially. And so if you bring somebody down the aisle to the altar, you must always remember the altar which is there does not alter character. It's an altar all the same, but it doesn't change character. And whatever character you present to the altar, the blessing that comes upon it may grow it. It's like an infected seed. When you plant it, the infection multiplies in the fruit that it bears. So is a wholesome seed multiplying after its kind, because marriage does not cure infidelity.
It doesn't change anybody.
It doesn't change people. If it does, it makes them worse. So there's a need for people who are going to marry now to pay attention to those kinds of values. What kind of values undergirds my behavior? Am I committed? Am I loyal? Am I going to be there for this individual? Are we coming in with a 50-50 mindset? Which secondary school, when I was in Kufori Tech, we used to have NC, no contribution, no chop. Now, would people go into marriage thinking the same way? No, that's not how you go it. Are you going to have your friends elevated about your spouse? Anybody who goes to marriage must understand that there's nobody the level of your spouse on earth. Your father, your mother, that's why it says, for this reason you leave father and mother. The word leave does not mean abandon. It simply means that you elevate this relationship above that, because your wife and you are one flesh. And your father and mother are not one flesh with you. Your brother and sister, they're not one flesh. Your friends are not one flesh. Your working colleagues are not one flesh with you. So on earth, if you have anybody the level of your spouse, you're in big trouble. So those are the building blocks for marriage, and people should have those clear understanding. Otherwise, you go in and you live your life as a single fellow. Because there are too many people who are married, but still feeling and living as single.
Thank you very much, sir, for honoring our invitation.
Any
I have
day.
learned a lot, and I know my viewers have too, especially the young men. I know they have learned a lot.
Why the young men?
Because they know why.
All right,
They
okay.
know why. All right, so I have a gift from Kente Queen to you, and this is to say thank you for
All right.
coming.
I wish my wife was here to receive it for me.
Oh, Mrs. Annan,
Thank you.
this is to you and your husband.
All right, okay, so that's it. Thanks.
This has been A Walk Down the Aisle. Thank you very much for watching. You can follow us on Instagram at A Walk Down the Aisle and on Facebook at A Walk Down the Aisle GH. Big thank you to my crew, Encore Media, Blaze Pictures, Kente Queen, Click Africa, and to my glam team, Tres on Hair Estelle for my hair, and to Makeup by Ashley for my makeup. See you same time next week. My name is Mami Dufi.
Let's get interactive on our social media platforms. On Facebook at A Walk Down the Aisle GH, on Instagram at A Walk Down the Aisle, and on Twitter at AWDA Ghana. You can also send us your comments via the WhatsApp number on your screens. Send your pictures and videos to awalkdowntheaislegh at gmail.com.
Makoma bo mi bang 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 me frɛ wo anasɛ menya wo ma wo nkɔnna mi nkɔsu baby Enka Mr. Playboy dear Kebani send me who Obama makoma bo mi bang 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 but this feeling is so different. What reason will I give my heart if I should let you go, baby? Cause I wanna know you. And the sweetie, because I'm in the wood, come walk into a baby. I show me so sad, see there.